Coming to you live from the Gentleman's Toilet. It's the Character Issues podcast, and here is your host, Brian Edwards.
Hello and welcome from the men's room, where the floor is sticky for reasons we don't understand necessarily. There is a splash zone problem that's happening.
Urinal cakes everywhere.
We're currently reaching out to the custodian to address it. Hi, my name's Brian. This is the Character Issues podcast. With me, as always, is Rich Davison. Rich, how are you?
I'm pretty good, yeah. I was just talking about how I got a new car today, so I've got that new car buzz. I've got that new car smell, and I feel like such a grown-up until I spent the rest of the day playing video games and realized that I never really grew up. Never probably will really grow up either.
No. It's overrated. I also spent a good majority of the day playing video games. Leah Haydu is out on assignment. She is not here this time, but you will hear her next time and on our new show. Until then, it's going to be the two of us here in the boys' room. I don't know. What are we doing? Are we smoking illicit cigarettes? While the principal is sniffing under the door to see if we're doing any crossing swords. Yeah, exactly. We're don't cross the streams. It's I learned that in many a movie. So we are here. You are obviously listening to us via whatever podcast feed you use. Also, just feel like we should be reminding people that we have a YouTube now, where we are putting up this show that you could be listening to on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Character Issues Podcast, or is it just Character Issues? I should know that. I'm going to figure that out by the end of the episode.
Character Issues. Yeah. If you fucking search Character Issues, there's no other stupid daft bastards with the same name, so we're in luck for the
let's
search
see
engine.
Here. It's opening. It is at Character Issues Podcast on YouTube. There we go. Thank you to our 11 subscribers. We love all of you. I'm pretty sure 3 of the 11 are the 3 people who host the show. But we just started. We're just throwing up VODs on there of the podcast, which is a static image. The idea is that maybe we'll start doing some video stuff, but I don't know. We're playing things fast and loose. The good news is that it's there for us to look at and wish we did more with, which is really, that's the goal for any creative endeavor, I think, Rich. You set something up.
More.
You look at it.
I feel most inspired when I feel full of self-loathing, So
yes. My God. There's enough of that to go around. So we're going to get into what we've been playing lately. We do have a theme for today's episode. Is just the two of us, and what better way to celebrate a one-on-one podcast than by celebrating one of the best competitive video games of all time. I don't know if that's true. I don't even really have. But we're doing a Smash Brothers themed episode, and by that I mean we have both picked characters that happen to be in Super Smash Brothers for today's episode. So get your Nintendo. Well, maybe it's not Nintendo. It could be Capcom or Konami. There's a bunch of different characters. You never know. But they're both from Nintendo. So so we'll be getting to that ranking in a bit. But before that, we will talk about what we've been playing. Rich, I don't know how to do this because I think the bulk of what we've been playing lately, you and I have been playing the same game, although not together.
Yeah, I kept one in the can.
I have one as well.
I did play for like almost an entire month. So we got a little bit of,
why don't you start?
I wouldn't say variety. Yeah, okay. Well, there's probably going to be a bit of a theme here, and then we'll do the creamy middle. Will be that game that we've both been playing. So for Christmas, my good lady girlfriend Emma bought me a game. It's known as Ghost of Yotei. So the past 3 kind of main games that I've played: Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ghost of Yotei, and then the game that we've been playing together. So I'm feeling a bit kind of like
there.
Japanese feudal Japan, like full. Like my belly is full.
Absolutely.
Sausage roll me out of bed because there's a lot going on there. Right, Ghost of Yotei. So you played this, Brian?
Yes. I have not finished it. I'm like, I played it the same way I played Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is I did finish Shadows. It took me a long time to finish it, and I'm probably 3/4 of the way through Yotei. But like, I'm finding these open world games, I have to take them in smaller chunks now because I get bored too quickly. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't hate that. I think that's probably a reasonable thing, but I'm just stubborn. So yeah, Ghost of Yotei, it's like fucking beautiful. Like the Ghost of Tsushima, beautiful. I'm finding that the colors in Ghost of Yotei are a little bit more muted. Like, did you ever play the Isle of Iki DLC for Ghost of Tsushima? Like, I had expected like impossible vistas with like tons of flowers, but this is not what Ghost of Yotei is all about. It's much more kind of like muted and grounded in like a sort of more northernly reality of Japan. So it doesn't quite have that like immediate like burst of color, but like in and of itself, like still a very attractive game. Now, I did a full 100% clear of all the map. It was probably about probably about a 50-hour game across the course of a month. So a couple of hours every night, you know. And I loved it. I mean, there's a couple of like things that stand out to me. Number one is I played the game in English purely because I played 100 hours of AC Shadows in Japanese, and tonally and in terms of difficulty and in terms of like the amount of content that's in Ghost of Yotei, it's a much more kind of like, I guess, like directed and streamlined experience. So I wanted less friction, and that included some of the voice acting. And I've got to say, like, I think at the time I knew Erika Ishii was kind of lauded for like a really strong performance, but I have to say, like, I think it was an incredible performance. Like, by far the best thing about that game. Yeah, her performance is like, if you ever see her in real life, she's kind of got that like ADHD, like hyperactivity kind of mentality, and it sort of shows in what she's got. But like Atsu, the character, and that kind of like stoicism and like level-headedness and lack of emotion is incredible. Just like a really strong performance from a really good voice actress, and for that matter, an actress, because obviously it's her likeness as well. Yeah. So props for that.
I think that she, like, I was really rooting for her to win at the Game Awards.
Me too.
Not just because people gave the people who were assholes about, you know, it being a female character and all these other things. That's definitely a part of it. But just because, like, her performance is always, like you said, it doesn't necessarily match her public persona, and it just shows her range, like, as an actress. Like, she's just an incredible voice actress and actress, like you said. Yeah. That definitely, it makes that whole experience feel more real, and for lack of having a better term to describe it, it's the believability is very high.
That's exactly it. Yeah, there's like a real pathos about her performance. It's such a kind of straightforward, simple story with very few. No, because this might kind of be considered spoilery. It's still a fairly young game, but like, it doesn't necessarily like meander around. It doesn't twist in ways that's going to sort of like undermine the kind of core concept. Like, what you get in hour 3 is consistently what you're going to get throughout the entire game, up all the way up to hour 50. It's just that it is of such a quality and such a singular vision that it is executed like really well. As an open world game, wonderful to play. The environment's incredible. Like I say. But I've got to say, some of the same challenges that I had with Ghost of Tsushima are still in Yotei. So, like, this game has combat, and what a ridiculous thing to say. This game has combat. The combat in this game isn't necessarily good enough to sustain that much gameplay.
Sure.
And it's not any better in Assassin's Creed Shadows. By any stretch of the imagination, there's a little bit more creativity in Yotei. But what it does do is it sort of forces you into very specific scenarios. So, case in point, you may come across an enemy encampment. You've got an ability to take out two of the enemies, but not a third one. If you attract the attention of the third one, it's game on for everybody. So you're fighting an entire encampment. The problem I had was time and time again, I have to enter the combat. Like, every single encampment seemed to be solved the same way. You either go in there and you hit triangle over and over and over again until all the enemies are gone, or I don't know, because as much as there's like enough like bells and whistles about the combat, I think unfortunately it is just a game that basically can be won by hitting one button over and over. That's not like a huge problem. I could have ramped the difficulty up, but like I'd kind of love doing this in open world games because it's already 50 hours long. Like, I don't know if I want like fail states to agitate that kind of setup. So, I mean, what's the overall story? Like, fucking incredible. Like, it's a really genuinely excellent game, and it's got that kind of classic Sony first-party polish, which is something that I think we're all kind of grown accustomed to and love.
One of those things that about Yotei that I love, again, I haven't finished yet, but I'm about 3/4 of the way through per the trophies, is it's not a game with a weak story that's the gameplay is compelling me. It's kind of the opposite way around.
Yeah.
And that I feel like is a harder thing to accomplish in games. You know what I mean? Like getting you to go along for the button mash you ride because the story is that good, or at least you want to see the resolution. Yeah. And I'm not just saying that the gameplay in Yote is button mashy, but it is. It's kind of the problem with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, not just shit on that game for the 11th time in the last month, but like that game has button mashy combat and you kind of attack things the same way, but the story was doing absolutely nothing for me and I just felt no need to see it through. Where in Yote, like if you give me enough of a reason to want to see what comes next, like I'll do another 10 bandit camps. You know what I mean? Like I can forgive that kind of that monotony a little bit because I care way more about what's going on in the story. And how did you find the open world like activity stuff? I'm always delighted to find a gambling game in a game. I spent a lot of time in that game pushing coins at other coins. I love that shit.
Reminds me of being in high school. Yeah. There's quite a lot of variety, you know, but it's also not the most dense game. This sort of sparse in some capacity, so it never really, you know, the open worldness of it wasn't what I found boring. Like it's quite nice to kind of checkbox off like a load of activities and slowly sweep your way across the map. Like that's always been a satisfying thing as long as games have ever like existed. Just picking up rocks and seeing what's underneath. That's just the kind of mentality that many of us have got. Okay, but I think like it's where it's the fact that every scenario ends with combat, and honestly every combat tended to be the exact same experience, which made it feel like it's just not following through in the way that I need it to. Leah sort of hopped on and I showed her some of the vistas in the game and got into a couple of fights, and just to sort of showcase the combat a little bit, I started piss farting around with some of the you know, just the abilities, like the ninja skills, and I was like, yeah, like this is really kind of cinematic to watch, but it's kind of unnecessary. You don't need to muck around when what you can do is just stand at an enemy and just button mash and it'll all come good. So I wonder if putting another sort of ramp up of difficulty would have helped, but ultimately I think what that might have meant is just an extra 5 hours on the game clock as I start to work through some of the scenarios. So yeah,
I'm like this is not a question I don't think either of us could answer, but yet I'm going to pose it just because that's good listening. Like where do you think open world games in this sense kind of go from here? Because I feel like we have kind of come to the end of the logical path of big map, bunch of bandit camps, clear them out, big boss, or a big, like, you know, stronghold that kind of gates the next area and so on and so forth. Do you think we still see games like this, or do you think that like it, if we don't see games like this, is there a path forward to make this more interesting? Like, I don't know, where are you at with open world games? And like, so if let's say Ghost of Osaka was announced next year, right? You know, and they just, you know, or pick your,
you're showing off with your geography knowledge of Japan.
The one city I could think of that wasn't Tokyo. But yeah, like say they Ghost of wherever, and Sucker Punch makes another one of these games. Is that enough to get you on board at this point, or like do you need something different out of these types of games?
So different open world games I come to for different reasons, and I knew when I was going to play Ghost of Yote that the reason I was going to go to it is because of the kind of views and the kind of art sort of aspect of it, because I couldn't see what they could have done with the combat from the first game to make it much more appealing. And I mean, they brought in different weapons, but ultimately that's just a different flavor of exactly what happened in the first game with the different stances.
The one thing I noticed too, I don't want to cut you off, but like as pertains to combat in Tsushima, like they outwardly like discourage you being stealthy because it wasn't honorable according to your like off the bat from this game. It's like, no, sneak into a camp and slit everybody's throat. Nobody cares. Like it was not.
But
there wasn't like that honor in combat stuff.
Like in taking some of that away, though, what it basically meant is that everything followed the formula. You know, 50% of the encampment as you take out individual enemies. You either get into a situation where you've got 3 enemies to take out, but you can only take 2 of them out at one time, or 4 enemies to take out and you can only take 3, or you loose an arrow and it doesn't quite connect with the enemy, and then all of a sudden you're doing the latter 50% of it just as a raw combat. If you get lucky, you might sort of like jump the gun sometimes and do that face-off mechanic, which is it's still good.
Yep.
I mean, like that is like a sort of an interesting formula, but I just think it was tested in isolation of a 50-hour commitment, which makes it a little bit kind of weird. Where do I think open world games could go? I mean, a lot of this comes with investment, and like especially like a capital investment. Something more along the lines of like Red Dead Redemption, with like emergent moments, like a lot of kind of niche situations where you encounter like different aspects of humanity. I think that again, that is like a mad investment, and obviously Rockstar get lambasted all the time for kind of like pushing back the development timelines, and all of this comes with like a risk and then a fund that maybe there's no appetite to take in the current like landscape. But I don't know. I think sometimes I think maybe what I said is probably where I'm landed. I think what you get is like a lot of these ideas that in isolation are excellent, and then when pitched together sound excellent, but they're not capable of sustaining like a 50-hour experience. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I know. So like I could see a world where like now, because all I used to want were these 100-hour games and these big things. One of the games we're playing right now is a giant game. It's a much different game, but it's a giant game. I'd be stoked if like the next Assassin's Creed came out and they were like, hey, this is Assassin's Creed. It's 20 hours long. You know what I mean? Man. It's 20 hours and it's like small and concise. Like I've grown out of wanting things to be bigger, because if they're going to be bigger, I want them to be more interesting, like to engage with, which is what but I have hope for that. It's not like I'm not trying to have the like super annoying internet dweeb, are open world games dead conversation. Like I think you have games coming out this year that will probably redefine how open world games are shaped, right? You've got that really cool one that Jay keeps talking about that looks fascinating, Crimson Desert. Yeah, that looks like a fascinating idea. You had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 last year, which did things a lot differently. You're going to have, I mean, fingers crossed that it's not a wet fart, but you're going to have Fable later this year, right? What does that kind of do, like the Fable-ishness in an open world? And then, of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 whenever that comes out. So, like, I think we're going to see it coming forward, and I do think there's a lot of interesting ideas out there. It's just, I'm not sure what I want from these games anymore, so I was kind of wondering... You know, I'm not sure what would make me happy at this point. So
like some like I think you're right. Maybe less time. I don't want to be like that time-starved parent thing, because I'm past that point in my life. You know, where but like
I realize now I no longer have time to play all the games, and I'm fine with that. Like it is what it is. I'll have a cool ass backlog for my retirement, hopefully, knock on wood, and I'll just be able to play all these fucking huge games that I didn't get a chance to 20 years earlier.
Yeah. I mean, let me be crystal clear. Like, I'm nitpicking here, just in an effort to try and sort of differentiate Ghost of Tsushima from other games, because it's easier to identify against what something isn't rather than what it is sometimes. Right, yeah. But like, it's a quality game. It oozes quality throughout. There's lots to love there. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of fed up with open world games that run 20 hours longer than perhaps what they ought to, if there was a sort of like ratio of time to quality, unfortunately. And to be fair, I felt that way about the first game, and I platinumed that game. You know what I mean? Like I loved it, but again, it probably could have ended, like you said, 20 hours earlier than it did. Interesting problem to have to solve, because when it takes that long to develop a game, you want it to be a big long game and then sell forever, right? Like that's the goal. And I mean, hey, look, like we've just had a state of play recently, haven't we? And how many of those games were like open world action RPGs in the same way? So, God, something's got to give, otherwise they're just saturating the market. Yeah. Cool. I mean, look, before we talk about the next game, why don't you take us through the other game that you've been playing so we can lean in?
So I played a game, and I was going to say this is the most time I've put into a game over a course of a week in a long time, but then I just did it plus more for the other game that we're playing. So I've had a real feast of shit for me lately. The game that I'm referencing is called Escape from Ever After. I played it on Steam. I think it is available on consoles as well. This is an unabashed homage, love letter to Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. So it's a turn-based RPG with action commands in it, so you can like press the button at the right time to defend or to get more out of your attack. And the whole conceit of this story, it's kind of an anti-capitalist tale. It's wonderful.
Nice.
It takes place in a storybook. You're this character, Flint Rider, and you're like this dragon slaying knight character. And the game starts. You're going to the castle to defeat the Tinder, the dragon, and this was gonna happen. And you get to Tinder's castle, and a corporation had come in and taken over your storybook. There's this corporation called Ever After Incorporated, and what they're doing is they are essentially corporatizing and taking over all the storybooks in existence, and they're turning like everything into like cubicle farms, and like so you go into your like Nemesis's castle, and their like main hall is now like a cubicle zone. Like one of the first side quests you get is you're on the party planning committee for this one guy's birthday party in the office, and you got to get the right banner and the right cake and dumb shit like that. And essentially, you team up with your nemesis Tinder, who has been restrained by this company, and to kind of free your storybook from the shackles of the corporation. And this takes place by you become employees of the corporation, and then you work your way up the corporate ladder until you can enact change.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
this
really,
sounds so real.
It's so fucking good, and it's so funny, and it's one of those rare games where I think that a lot of times you can run the risk while doing an homage game of like just trying too hard to be the other thing without having your own identity. And this game is better for the fact that it tried to be Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. In fact, in a lot of ways, I think it eclipses it in a lot of ways. The story's great. The writing's incredible. It takes you through. So the way you progress in this company is you go into other storybooks and you try to like kind of take them over for the company, when in reality you're sabotaging things behind the scenes to try to take the company down. And like you go into the Three Little Pigs story, and the pigs are corporate contractors who are planning to bulldoze the wolves' village in order to create high-rise apartments. So you got to like sabotage, and the big bad wolf joins your team. He's this little lute-playing wolf. He's awesome. You go into like a detective story. You interact with Sherlock Holmes and some like kind of eldritch kind of horror nightmares in this one book, and there's a sci-fi book that you end up going into where like the base of their R&D department for the company is now located. You go in there and to kind of take stuff down from the inside. It's really whimsical, but it also has quite a bit of challenge. Like I said, the combat and the leveling up, if you've played a Paper Mario game, it's going to seem familiar, but it never feels slight, and battles still feel challenging without feeling unfair. They really threaded the needle, I think, here for how to make one of these games kind of for modern times. It was about 30 hours on the clock when I rolled credits, and I couldn't put it down. I did that in about a week. And
God damn. That 30 hours is the sweet spot for RPGs for me.
Yes, it is. It was, and I think I could recommend this game to people who don't love Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door, but if you even have a remote inkling for those games, that or Super Mario RPG, like this game is fucking excellent. And I couldn't put it down. It was one of those. It was almost like when I picked up Sea of Stars last year. Like from 2 hours in, it's like, oh, I'm playing this until I'm done with it. Like I'm just not stopping until this game's done. And yeah, the music's fucking great. The writing's awesome. Super, super great fucking time.
Nice. Yeah. So quick question, right, dude?
Yes, sir.
Mechanically, is there anything in addition to what Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was putting down that makes this kind of pop?
Yes, so that you have, so like Paper Mario, there's two characters on the battlefield at any time. You can swap out characters, including your main character, in battle, and you can use a currency. You can use a currency, so you can swap them out without using one of the currency, and then they have to wait their next turn to go. But you can also invest currency so that they can go again right now. So there's some strategy there where different enemies have different attacks. So, for example, there are characters that you're fighting that have shields, and Flint cannot damage the shield. Tinder can't use his flame on the shield, but the big bad wolf character, he has an attack that brings up plants from the ground from below, so he can damage enemies from below. Then in the next area, there's flying enemies that he can't attack. You get another character that has good attacks for flying, and it becomes kind of a strategy. there's 6 playable characters total, and by the end of the game, there wasn't a battle that I was going in where I wasn't swapping in almost all 6 of those characters to take down specific scenarios, and like different enemies that you find. So combat is like constantly engaging in that way. Never got tired of it, and was always having to think about how I'd have to take it. And if I strategized right, almost every battle I could do without losing a hit point if I like knew what the enemy's weakness was, knew what this was, and the way you do that is by fighting them a few times and learning their patterns, learning their attacks and stuff. So that's really cool. And then I think it has better kind of puzzles than the Paper Mario games typically had. Like there's some combat puzzles that are legitimately brain like taxing, but not in a way that frustrates you. I'm trying to think what else.
So quick question as well while you do some thinking. So like it seems to me that it's got that Final Fantasy X style, like swap in, swap out characters. So the idea there is that all of your party are kind of useful in a certain scenario. Does it therefore allow you to bring every character along in the journey? Did you feel that sense of attachment?
Yep, 100%. There's a button dedicated to switching them out in the overworld, like in the map that you're walking around. And each character has a different ability. So Tinder can breathe fire, so you'll come across like curtains and like spider webs and shit that he can set on fire. You can find secret items, but then like you get the Wolf's a musician, so there's music based puzzles you use him for. There's this lady you actually recruit the head of HR, and she's a wizard. And she can turn you into different animal forms that you can use to traverse to different areas and stuff. Yeah, they all have unique kind of ways they can affect the world, and you're always swapping out between them kind of on the fly. And it's as easy as pushing one button to flip and bring another character in. So you're attached to absolutely every one of them.
That is a difficult thing to do. I mean, I look recently at Clair Obscur, like a universally beloved game. I don't think that game successfully managed to do that. There was definitely one or two characters that are just sort of left off the boil by the end of that. So I'm always impressed when an RPG does it.
Yeah, I was like really attached to Mael and Lune, right?
Yeah, Lune.
But that was because they were 2 of the first characters I had, so I just kept using them because I felt like I knew them or whatever. And I feel like, was it Monaco? Or Monaco?
Yeah, Monoko and
Monoko, thank you.
Sayel, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, I really wanted to get to know them better and use them more, but I just didn't lean on them in the same way.
Same.
This game, you have to lean on all your characters. And
I do enjoy that.
Yeah. It's really fucking rad, man. Like took me by surprise. I think it's got pretty high reviews and stuff, but like I am shocked that there aren't Nintendo weirdos just like screaming from the mountaintop being like, "See, Nintendo, this is how you do it," like that type of shit. But yeah, super engaging, super awesome game. Check it out. I think it's $30. Totally worth your time.
Can't complain.
All right, Rich, just because I'm
review.
I have this tickle in my throat that I can't clear. Can you introduce the third game that we've been playing and then we can just bloviate about it for a while?
Cool. So both Brian and I have been playing the follow-up to Neo and Neo 2, a game aptly called Neo 3. So this was released, this time last week, Brian? My physical copy came 6 days ago. I've spent a lot of time away this week on work, and somehow I've managed to put a lot of time in this game, like 30 hours, and I'm not entirely sure how over the 5 days that I've had available. I've been on record as saying like Neo and specifically Neo 2, my favorite games of the last generation. I think even in light of everything else that came out there's just something special about these games for me. Neo 3 is the first instance where they've kind of lifted and shifted the open world mechanics from the former game they had, Rise of the Ronin, and sort of broken from form where you would have specific levels, and now you're in what is ostensibly a huge open world. I had my reservations about it at the beginning, but goddamn, I think this is a fantastic implementation of like the Neo formula in an open world game. I think there's one or two slight kind of challenges, and I'll get those out the way before we start effusing about this game. The level-based approach in Neo made it so that every level kind of gated you in a nice way, and it was curated and sort of balanced in an interesting manner. the open world nature of this means that grinding is a little bit more prevalent, and obviously you can do a bit more grinding. You can go somewhere else and try something different. But I'm finding that the enemies in this particular version of the game have a lot of hit points. Some of the bosses in particular are really demanding, not necessarily because of the like punch-out style patterns, but because of the amount of hit points that they've got. So I hope, and I suspect I know where this is going, it does start to bend in favor of like complex enemy patterns and, you know, Team Ninja style challenge rather than just piling a load of hit points on the enemy. So far, though, probably the only criticism that I've got. I mean, you're further ahead than I am, and I don't know. You don't necessarily see yourself as a Neo freak in the same way I do. So
I beat Neo 1. I played the shit out of Neo 1. I really enjoyed it. I never finished Neo 2. I put about 30 hours into it, and enjoyed what I played. I don't know what caused me to bounce off that one. If it was just another game.
Yeah, I've got I've a New Game Plus, and I've got 400 hours on the clock.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah, man.
They're big ass games, right? We know that. Everything you said about the open world structure of this game, I agree with. I'm gonna say, and I hate comparing every Souls like in giant fucking air quotes to FromSoft, but to me, this is the absolute realization of a team looking at Elden Ring and not saying, let's do that, but instead saying, what about that would work with the type of game we make? Because they are very different games.
And actually, I would say that, like, and not to be kind of like hipster about this, there is a lot of what Neo did.
Yes.
That was integrated into Elden Ring in particular. Just in terms of like matchmaking and sort of bending difficulty and sort of aspects of co-op. So I think you've got two like incredibly interesting companies really kind of competing against one another and thrashing ideas around to make something, well, two distinctive products, both of which have like great quality. Sorry to cut you up there.
No, not at all. I kind of like I'm actually shocked with how into this game I am. Not that I was expecting to not, but I got bit by the review bug. It happens to me. I'm susceptible to the hype of a game that I wasn't expecting and getting, you know, wrapped up in it. And I think it's sitting at OpenCritic on like an 89 or a 90 or something. It's very good reviews for that. So I was like, oh yeah, I should check that out. And I gotta say, with the first 2 or 3 hours, when the tutorial and the first section, I'm like, yeah, this feels like a Neo game. Like, man, I'm not, like, it feels good, and I'm gonna keep playing it, but like, this just seems like another one of those games. I wonder what really drew people to this, and then it kind of busts itself open and gives you this ability to kind of, to roam in a way that you couldn't before, and all of that is just working for me. It has the wonderful wanderlust of a good open world game of just going over there to see what is over there, and there's always something to engage with, normally a pain in the ass enemy that you got to kill, but the way that this game, like, it still gates you and it still funnels you in certain directions. It's not a completely open world experience. It's not a completely like go anywhere, do anything experience. The way that these zones are controlled and the way the enemies are kind of like doled out to you and kind of the pacing of it all. You were mentioning this in the green room before the podcast, is like every single time I get to like a logical stopping point in this game, I'm just like, well, but there's another shrine up here. Like, I can just make it to there and I can make it past this guy. If I make it past this guy, then I'll stop and then I'll do that. But like, it just keeps giving me compelling gameplay reasons to keep
50 attempts
going.
At the next boss later.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think the enemy design is incredible. In fact, I read a bunch of reviews beforehand, and one of the things that somebody lamented is that the enemy design wasn't varied enough from zone to zone. I'm on zone 3 now, and I'm seeing enemies I've never seen before. Completely have to switch up my tactics, so I'm not seeing that yet. I'm about 35 hours in, and yeah, every hill that they've given me to climb, I've been gleefully, clambering up and falling a bunch of times, but there's something in the sauce in this one, and I think a big part of it, which would be very interesting if you and I ever play this game together, because you can play co-op, is you and I are playing completely different video games.
I was going to ask you about this.
Because you're playing in samurai style and I'm playing ninja style. So
this is a game that sort of benefits from two different styles, but like what it's done is it's taken two different character builds from the original Neo and Neo 2 and kind of pushed them together into one character that you can switch between styles like dynamically, and each style has its own sort of like stats, its own like discrete move set, like all sorts of different things. But it seems as though we both kind of align with either side of the coin. Sorry, so where was the question in there? I kind of buried it.
No, like, so the style that you're playing in is samurai style, which is like way more what I would consider a traditional one of these games. It's like you're doing heavy damage, but you're not that mobile, right? So you're emphasizing blocks and dodging at the right time and managing your ki, which is your stamina. There's a mechanic in the game called the ki pulse, where after you do a certain string of attacks, if you press the right shoulder button at the right time, you can gain a certain amount of that energy back.
And purify. And this is kind of fascinating for me that you're playing this game without purification. Like, I wonder how it's allowing you to manage your stamina in the way that is necessary when you're playing with the samurai style. Or are you just constantly running out of ki or energy?
No, I'm not, and that's the thing. You're managing it, but at a much different level. I am always on the move, like always, like
sounds
running,
stressful.
circling back. It feels so fucking good though, Rich. Like it's just like zipping in behind an enemy, slashing 5 or 6 times. Then instead of a key pulse, your right shoulder button is kind of the spin out of the way. Like you land a series of attacks. The miss, and when you hit it, it instantly moves you away from the enemy, whatever direction you're going. So it's really the way I'm playing the game is much more about a get in and get out, know when my windows are, and get in, just hack and slash, and then get right back out. And I'm finding these fights thrilling. And the cool thing is, based on the reviews I've read and my own experience, is that like you can handle these fights in either way and find your way forward, which I think must have been very difficult to design, because there are some boss encounters that I would be like, I don't even know how you'd handle this not having the mobility that I have. And these are bosses that you've already cleared. And I bet that vice versa, you would probably be thinking,
exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm like,
how would you do this if you weren't taking off this much hit points with every attack? How could you output enough
damage to do this? So like the style that I've got is samurai generally tends to like err you on the side of using heavy armor and then like moving between 3 different stances, high, low, and mid stance, and they represent different speeds and different like depths of attack and damage races. Like, but the spin that I put on it is that I've gone for the lightest possible armor, meaning that my key recovery is a lot faster, so my energy and my stamina recovers way quicker. And I shared with you a clip of me fighting the boss today, and what it becomes is a case of, it's 2 things. It's parrying at the right time. And generally, I don't like that kind of mechanic, but there's something about the way that parries work in Neo that really aligns with my kind of sensibilities. But also, it instead of like zipping around and kind of nipping in to kind of rush a bit of damage and then get into a position of safety, it's like a game of pugilism, where what you're doing is the 2 of you are standing face to face, and just both yourself and the enemy are in the pocket, and it's about footsie. It's about just slightly coming out a distance and then closing down the gap with either a sort of an attack or some, like, I just find that gameplay so cool.
To me.
That
sounds like, so terrifying.
You sort of get a internal rhythm. I mean, 500 hours of Neo under my belt.
Sure.
You get that, and like it's such a kind of just satisfying feeling when you've hit a boss a couple of times. And like I say, a lot of these bosses have a lot of hit points, but when you get the mechanic down, it's not about learning patterns necessarily. It's about like performing against like a desired sequence of attacks and like mastering it. I never feel like I've scraped by through the skin of my teeth. What I feel is that I've literally mastered the fight before I go through. That is not the same feeling that I play when I'm playing a Souls game. Quite often, you can bend the game in a certain way. Like Neo demands like a little bit of like finesse and a little bit of kind of space, and it has more in common with like a fighting game for me than
I get that,
like an RPG.
So That's super interesting, and we have to get together and play in the same field because I'm sure it's going to be hilarious as you are stepping in and working on your spacing, and I'm just running laps around the enemy.
Just constantly
you know what I mean?
walking forwards towards the enemy. Really, it's cool.
There was one boss. I won't spoil it for you. It's in the second zone yesterday where I was having such trouble, and I realized after maybe attempt 20. That I was taking way too conservative an approach with this enemy. Like, this enemy was getting in close to me, and it took me literally 20 tries. I knew all of his patterns. I knew how to evade them, but I just couldn't. I wasn't able to have enough stamina after I evaded them to get in and do any real damage, get out. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? There's got to be a way. Maybe I just have to figure out samurai style. And I was like, no, this game so far has given you you have all the tools you need. You just need to figure this out. And what I realized is that because this boss was so aggro, and coming at me so quickly that I could literally use that against her. And I was just, every time she'd come in close, I would dodge past her and get right behind immediately. Yeah. And I went from getting this boss down to half health and dying when running out of elixirs to beating it the next try with 6 to spare because I was like, oh, I've got, I realize what this boss, and right now, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about the boss I'm stuck on right now because that strategy does not work. I've attempted that strategy, but I know all their patterns, I know all their attack, and it's just a matter of sussing out. There's got to be more windows for me to do more damage, and the way I'm going to solve that is by going and playing it another 15 times and zeroing it in,
finding the paper to the rock kind of situation.
Oh, it's so satisfying, and I don't. It's early on, and I know it's 35 hours, but it's still early on in a game like this. I cannot see myself playing anything else till I finish this game, which is a problem because there's other games I have to play.
Exactly the same thing. I've been trying to start Mother 3 for a week, and it hasn't happened. I mean, a couple of one thing from a Neo stan like myself, the new game plus of Neo is always a real treat because basically you just run past all of the regular enemies, pick up the checkpoint, and then just boss rush. And it's like playing the same bosses that you've learned, only they've got slightly more health. Mm-hmm. So you end up getting very, very, very capable and competent with the skill set and the builds that you've got. And it's genuinely a decent experience. And it's bolstered because Neo is nothing if not just about 100 different back-end mechanics supporting one another through at the front. So
that's the other thing too, is that anybody who's thinking about playing this game, you cannot let these menus intimidate you, and it's possible that they will. Don't get me wrong.
And they keep coming. You will complete the game, and it will introduce 2 new mechanics to you.
When I finished the second zone last night, it unlocked new weapon slots and a couple other things. Nothing that would be a spoiler, right? Just new, and I literally was just I can't handle more right now. I need to get good at what I have, then I'll figure that out. Also, there's a crazy amount of loot to this game. Excuse me. Every enemy that you're fighting is just popping out blue, yellow, gold, and for the uninitiated, there is an auto equip button in this game, and I suggest you use it for at least the first 10 to 15 hours. Just equip the stuff it tells you that you should equip. You'll find some stuff later that you'd like, and some builds and other stuff like that. But at the beginning, it's really just kind of about mastering the tool set that you have at your disposal.
Yeah, you can also set up rules as well, so that when you pick up a weapon that is below a certain quality or below a certain rank or below a certain level, it automatically just turns it into elixir, for example. It'll just get rid of it so that it's not
I've been
hassle.
doing them. I've been auto breaking them down for materials because I've been using them to craft weapons at the smithy. But good grief! Apparently, I'm playing it wrong. Everybody, Gatekeeper Rich Davison over there telling me how to Neo.
Oh, my sweet summer child, Brian. This is not how you play Neo.
Yeah, man. I shouldn't say I'm surprised because these games have a pedigree and good, but I'm also really happy for them because they're over 1 million sales already. This game is a hit.
It's a quality game. Yeah,
for Team Ninja, I'm happy for them for that, because like it felt like after Neo 2 that was going to kind of be it.
They said as such as well. It was something I was going to say. They were like, "Yep, we've finished with the Neo franchise. It's time for us to go away and do something different."
Yeah.
And then what followed is Stranger Paradise, a game that I really do enjoy because it's got a lot of the same DNA. And then Rise of the Ronin, and then obviously Ninja Gaiden, which is
didn't they do
the most long running?
Didn't they do? Was it Wolong Final? No.
Oh yeah, Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
That was them too, right?
Yeah, and it was a good game.
Okay.
Yeah, platinum that game. It's
oh, nice.
decent.
Yeah. I just like now. This is just another example of like. You get like a masters and a medium who have all these ideas. Like I wouldn't even say that anything about this game is particularly different from what I've played before, but it's just so refined and so streamlined in a way that makes me feel like I'm always making legitimate, real progress. Like it's an achievement in that, because there have been a couple times where that would have been walls I would have bounced off before that I have not bounced off. So whatever that secret sauce is, this game fucking has it, man. I am in love.
Think that secret sauce is like, Neo, the first one was 2017, so the best part of 9-10 years ago. All of the guts that sit underneath the bonnet of this game were kind of really honed in the first two games, and then whatever's going on there. And their character design, and their level design, and their boss design. So, like, they just really know what they're doing. And then what they've essentially done is lifted out all of that quality into a sort of, like, pseudo-open world. I don't think it's, like, an entire success based around what I've played so far. There's certain design decisions that feel a little bit clumsy. A good example of that is like in Neo 2, there was a very clear distinction between areas that had like yokai in and areas that had humans in. This game does sort of fudge them together in a slightly kind of weird way, with the conceit that the humans are like, I don't know, co-opting Amrita
using the yokai or whatever. Yeah.
And it's a little bit kind of dissonant, because you'll be wandering down the road and there'll be like a peasant man with a pickaxe, and then you'll go like 100 yards down the road and then there's a flipping four-armed demon with 4 katanas like General Grievous just trying to buzzsaw you, and it's like, oh god, okay, fair enough. But a quality game. Like I'm really pleased, and I can't believe I'm looking at a copy of Neo 3, a game that I never thought would exist, and it's better. I genuinely think that.
It is quite something, and like not to get spoilery here. This is not a spoiler for you either, Rich. I know I'm a little farther in the game than you are, but not by much, really. Like this game has also added in some of that. Like I wouldn't call it like emergent storytelling or any of that, but like there are just things that happen within the world that are very, very interesting, and sometimes like laugh out loud shocking. There's an area in the first open zone of the map where you go out to the coast and you're going towards this what appears to be an ocean, and let's just say something comes out of that ocean and like surprised me and shocked me, and then like all of a sudden now I'm involved in a side quest that involves this other thing, and like I'm being pushed down paths that I would maybe have not been pushed down before by like fun and cool things happening within the world. That continues throughout the other zones too. So, the one I'm in right now is a particular motherfucker, but yeah, really fascinating stuff going on in this game.
Yeah.
I really hope that I can
take a break, right? I think the rest of the world will catch up to you, and you'll have a little bit more tools at your disposal, because
I hope so.
You will be able to bring summons in, so maybe that breaks like a healthy thing.
Yeah, maybe. It's been quite the week with Neo 3 for me, so I'm pretty pumped to continue that.
Straight up, I cannot put it down, and that is a concern. That's something that we both share.
Anything else, Rich, before we move on to our characters? I mean, I know it is a ranking show. We're only 50 minutes in.
Oh, God. And there's only 2 of it. No, mate, like, I have not... Unless you want to carry on talking about Neo, in which case, like, pull out your popcorn and your chaise longue, because we're going to...
I bought that Mugenics, Played that a little bit, but nothing really to talk about yet with that. But lots of video games are starting to come out, and a lot of them are good. Like we'll talk about that on the next news show with what the State of Play kind of brought to us. But like Mugenics is out, that has crazy good reviews. Resident Evil's out in like 2 weeks. Like there's video games are happening. It's pretty rad to be a part of. Until then, though, we need to get back to the real reason we're here, Rich. We're scientists. We rank video game characters. You can go over to brianbabbleson.com where you can see the list of characters currently. I'm trying to get see what happened is I am using a laptop and this touchpad sucks. So I'm scrolling down 181 characters currently on the list. You can see them over at brianbabbleson.com. Click the characters you list at the top to see that. If you want to nominate a character for the list, you can send us an email over at characterissuespodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to see more emails coming in. Gives us stuff to talk about on the show and potential characters to rank. This week, as I mentioned, we are doing Smash Brothers characters. And this just kind of happened naturally. We're talking about it. I think about
where's this
apes going? A lot. I think about video game apes too often, I would say. And I feel like we are woefully underrepresented on this list. And when I think of like cool apes, the only one we have on this list is Funky Kong, who was cool before his turn as a war profiteer, which we know. I wanted to bring one that I could feel a little bit better about putting on this list. He was introduced in the original Donkey Kong Country. He's cool because he wears a baseball hat. He is Winnie the Pooh in it in the sense that he's wearing a shirt but no pants on underneath. I am of course talking about the peanut pistol wielding Diddy Kong as the character I'm bringing this week.
Whoa, 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 yeah, he's my friend. He's a simian. Whoa, 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 he's in my friend. I'll say it again. Come along, he's my baby, Diddy Kong. He's my buddy, he's a monkey. Come along, go with my friend, that's Diddy Kong. He's my buddy, that's a monkey.
You a fan of the Donkey Kong Country games, Rich?
I played Donkey Kong Country after the fact, though, and I think that's to the detriment of the game because I find that game. I know it's notoriously difficult, but I find it incredibly difficult by virtue of the fact that it doesn't seem to kind of like make much sense when you're platforming. Like you can sausage roll off the side of a cliff and then coyote jump in a way that I never understood. So I've always wanted to love it, but never quite did because I'm not good enough or like either not in the mood or zone enough to be able to get it. But I know you're a big fan. I know you've got a big thing with DKC 1, 2, and 3, right?
1 and 2 specifically, yeah. I have less love for 3, which I think that's pretty typical. I think 3 was just a little. It's a different game. I love the Donkey Kong Country games. I remember I got Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo for Christmas when I was a young man, and I remember opening it up on Christmas morning and taking it and putting it in the Super Nintendo. And by noon the day after Christmas, I had rolled credits. I just devoured this game. I love the way it looked. I love the way it felt. I love everything about it. It was 1994 or whatever the hell it was. And yeah, a big part of that was Diddy Kong, because you think about Donkey Kong Country and you think about the man himself, the tie-wielding Donkey Kong, star of many a video game over the years, but like the real star of that game to me was Diddy Kong, because Diddy's so much goddamn more mobile than Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's like this big lumber grill, but Diddy Kong's got speed. He does cartwheels. Like he's a real he's a real acrobatic monkey. I call him a monkey, and I'm just going to bring this up. I think it's important for the ranking because his designer, and this is according to fandom.com, which has never been wrong about anything. They originally described him, his original designer, as a chimney, because he's a portmanteau of chimpanzee and monkey, because the type of monkey he was based on is a spider monkey, but he has a bit of a chimpanzee look. So he's kind of an amalgamation of simian species kind of thing. He's got the big chimpanzee face, but his body, particularly his prehensile tail, does kind of read more spider monkey. Just straight off the jump, looking at him, Rich, you a fan of the 1 star on his shirt, kind of off to the side? Do you think it gives him personality? Do you think he
Definitely,
looks cool?
He's got that wife beater, doesn't he? Which is a real mark of somebody who knows exactly what they're doing. A red wife beater to hide the blood, I'm sure, from when he's thrashing his wife in the kitchen. Diddy Kong, probably by virtue of the design alone, has withstood the Poochie test, which is to say... definitely came into his own after basically being like implanted into the Donkey Kong universe, and so much so in fact that he's in Smash Brothers as his own playable character and not like a palette swap. He's got loads of fucking cool shit going on, so like just to look at him, a really cool character, and actually one Nintendo definitely got like behind, got on the back of, and then continued to champion. Like, have you seen that fucking list of the amount of games that Diddy Kong's in?
No, it's kind of nuts. So when thinking about Diddy Kong, like I was thinking like 2 games popped to mind specifically. I was thinking about Donkey Kong Country, and I was thinking about Diddy Kong Racing. Right, I have affinity for both of those games. But then I was thinking like, oh well, he was in Donkey Kong 64. He's been in Mario Kart. He's been in Mario Strikers. He's been in Smash Brothers, obviously. Yeah. He's been kind of all over the place, and like
every single one of those sports games.
Yeah, he has really like entered the fray as one of those like for sure to see him on the roster of a Mario sports game, which I find a bit fascinating. Just because like this. He hasn't been shelved in the way, let's say, a Dixie Kong has from Donkey Kong Country 2, right? Like, I love Dixie Kong from Donkey Kong Country 2, but she was kind of in that and never in anything again. She makes a brief appearance in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Spoiler for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I should have said spoiler first. But yeah, but Diddy Kong has withstood this test of time to the point where he's actually featured. He has a speaking line in the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, like... Diddy Kong isn't really going anywhere. You know what I mean? He's eternal, as it were.
Yeah, 100%. All from a character who, according to the trivia, was supposed to be originally a redesign of Donkey Kong Jr. itself, the titular Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country. I think Rare kind of stumbled onto the most 90s character possible between the wife beater and the hat. It's a real slice of life.
Now, in Donkey Kong Country 2, you need to remember in Donkey Kong Country 2, when you complete a stage with Diddy Kong, he turns his hat backwards, puts on a pair of sunglasses, and holds a boombox over his shoulder when he simian raps over the beat.
Goddamn.
I feel like that's a very, very important part of his character.
It is the most 90s thing I think I've ever heard. When did Diddy Kong get, like, a peanut butter pair of Uzis to dual wield and a rocket pack?
That is the same game in which Funky Kong was made a war profiteer, Donkey Kong 64. So they all had weapons, like projectile weapons. Coconut gun for Donkey Kong. It fires in spurts. If he shoots it, it's going to hurt, famously from the rap. Peanut pistols for one Diddy Kong. Lanky Kong had a pea shooter, but he shot grapes out of it. Trixie Kong? No, that's not her name. Has a bow which shoots feathers, and Chunky Kong, he had something else too. I can't remember now. But yeah, anyway, that's why I tried to flex a little bit on my knowledge, but I couldn't
Metal Gear Solid 4 levels of like sort of like apocryphal tales of the war economy, albeit through a Nintendo licensed game on the Nintendo 64. I mean, that's kind of cool that characteristics like stuck with them definitely into Smash Brothers. Like it seems to be a kind of pervasive quality of Diddy Kong after the fact.
It also that's also where his rocket his barrel jetpack came from, was also Donkey Kong 64. So a lot of Donkey Kong 64 influence in his in like his character as a whole, evolving over time.
And very important in the Smash Brothers game, like his ultimate ability is to basically fly around just spamming peanuts at everybody.
Oh yeah,
just shooting his nut all over the place.
Yeah, he's gonna just get your nut all up in your face. Is his goal of Smash Brothers. I do want to say, as maybe a bit of a character flaw, Diddy Kong does seem to hold a grudge. In Mario Superstar Baseball, Diddy seemed to have good chemistry with the Goomba due to the fact they were small sidekicks who wanted to be better. However, in Super Mario Sluggers, they don't have good chemistry, likely due to the fact that the Goombas stole the banana horde in Super Smash Brothers Brawl. So
Dang.
you touch Diddy Kong's banana, he seems fun, he seems cool, he seems whatever, but you're going to know why that shirt's red, as you said, if you touch his bananas. So I think that's an important part of his character.
Well, I think it is offset by his general personality traits, which here, according to the fandom, are that Diddy Kong's defining personality traits are his energy, quick thinking, and gaiety to the point of childishness.
All right, yeah, I can see that.
He's sort of frolic around at times. He's just a man of two sides. It's the duality of apes.
The duality
monkeys.
of Kong, absolutely.
There's the episode title.
The duality of Kong. No, I think that Diddy Kong has become an important character in the Nintendo universe that they are continuing to expand with the movies. What I want to know is that the rumor is that there's going to be a Donkey Kong movie. They're going to spin out Seth Rogen, do his own thing. I want to know what role Diddy Kong's going to have in that, and if it's not a large enough role, I demand that the Character Issues fandom submit a letter writing campaign to Nintendo.
Hit them where it hurts, fandom.
Anything else on Diddy Kong before we rank there, Rich?
Only that Diddy Kong is, as you've mentioned in your kind of opening section there, that he is responsible for the Diddy Kong racing game, which is generally considered to be one of the finest racing games on the N64, which, to be fair, not exactly a huge sort of selection of racing games to get jealous about between Mario Kart 64 and Beetle Adventure Racing. It's not a hotbed of fantastic racing games.
I played so much Beetle Adventure Racing.
Me too.
Oh my god.
Me too.
I played the secret paths. I could spend hours. You get that rainbow beetle that's so fucking fast.
I know. And yet never once bought a VW Beetle.
Nope.
No. So
I fucking love that game. Anyway.
Yeah, like it does stand alone as generally considered to be a absolutely stellar game, and pushes the genre as well, because it's like a kind of story-driven racer, which is something you don't see very often.
Sure. No, yeah, I agree. My goal would be to eventually abuse our YouTube channel by just recording myself playing through that entire game again and uploading it for people to enjoy, of course.
Yeah, while giggling all the time.
The first appearance of Conquer the Squirrel, Diddy Kong Racing 2. So, I mean, talk about legends being born.
And Banjo as well, right?
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. Banjo was in that game before before Banjo-Kazooie. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, wow. I tell you, the lineage. Yes, exactly. Until then, we need to find where Diddy Kong goes on this list. As I mentioned before, 181 characters. I'm looking in the top third of the list, Rich.
I agree.
I don't know if Diddy Kong rises to the level. So, like, Diddy Kong is to Donkey Kong as Luigi is to Mario, right? Like, but Luigi has a much more story.
Hang on a minute. Diddy Kong is to Donkey Kong what Waluigi is to Wario is probably the.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nope. I like that. Absolutely. Yeah. No. That's a way more. They're more sidekick. They're not brothers. Yeah. You're right. I agree with that. I don't think he reaches the lofty heights of Luigi, but I don't think he's that far off. When I think of Diddy Kong, I think of a cute kind of sidekick character. Very important to the games that he's in. I would say that he is. He is the most acrobatic of the characters in Donkey Kong Country, but he's also a really important part of Donkey Kong Country 2. A lot of people want to lean on Dixie because she has the hover mechanic, but his cartwheel spring jump that allows you to like initiate a jump about 5 feet off a platform is just so fucking good. I think that I see Diddy Kong on this list somewhere right in our mid 50s. I want to say that Diddy Kong is as important to the Donkey Kong franchise as Cortana is to the Halo franchise. I want to suggest Diddy Kong at the new number 56 in between Cortana and the Meowscular Chef from Monster Hunter. What say you to that?
The Meowscular Chef is a good kind of companion there as well, because they're two anthropomorphized, well, mammals, I suppose.
Yep.
I think that's a really good read, you know. I like the idea of Diddy Kong being sort of somewhere in the middle there, because he's got sass, he's got personality, he's got clout, and other such descriptors. And, you know, when push comes to shove, he is a jetpack wielding, dual wielding, Uzi, peanut launching ape. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of Diddy Kong. I think you just trot Diddy Kong out whenever, you know, when you need a little je ne sais quoi, a little zhuzh in your game.
A little zhuzh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little simian zhuzh. So
just to get a little bit of salt and pepper in that game there with some Diddy Kong.
Yeah, all the designers are saying that. Everybody's wondering how to get Diddy Kong in their game, and Nintendo just keeps the lock and key closed, which I understand. It's too valuable
Although
property
it
to
wouldn't
lend
surprise me, given that his name's Diddy Kong, he may sort of take a backseat and be rehabbed for a little bit.
Oh, not his fault though, right? He's just catching strays there.
That's like saying
okay.
I don't know.
Yes. It's like saying everybody named Hitler gets a bad rap. You know what I mean? You get it. I don't know why I said that. Diddy Kong is now the new number 56
name, Brian.
Character. Oh man, poor little Johnny Hitler out there somewhere, just trying to live a life. Diddy Kong is now our number 56 greatest character of all time, in between Cortana and the Meowscular Chef. Congratulations to Diddy Kong. And I feel bad that Leah isn't here for this moment, Rich. But you need to tell the people who is now at the 69 spot.
Well, I think we've done it, guys. The current, and well, let's say current, because I don't think we've decided what we're going to do. Number 69 is Italy's own Voldo.
Yes.
It has happened.
It
only took 85 episodes for us to get there.
Voldo.
But the man, the myth, the legend, Voldo is currently the number 69 spot.
So what I'm going to do, Rich, is I'm not going to bold anything. I'm not going to put anything down. I think we need a full referendum in order to make this happen. And Leah will be back for the next episode. But I believe that Voldo will be our permanent 69.
It just makes sense.
For eternally locked in a 69 struggle. But we will clear this through the proper channels. We will get the important documents signed, and we will talk to Leah to make sure that this is the plan. And then come the next episode, we will have a firm, muscular, ribbed update for what Voldo's position on the list will be.
Indeed,
What a moment!
I know.
And
what an auspicious moment for Voldo. The first thing that comes to my mind is like a football jersey with Voldo on the front and then 69.
Oh man, I could have that made. We could sell those. That would be incredible. So until then, Voldo's number 69. And Rich, you have brought us another character from the Smash Brothers, from all the Super Smash Brothers. Who have you brought? And honestly, I'm not gonna say it's a theme with you, but there have been. We went from having no characters from this franchise on our list to now having quite a few, and this one, I think, is maybe the main event from this franchise. So why don't you give us an introduction?
Well, certainly at the moment, I think we've yet to do it. It's because it's on my brain, you know. I've got to play Mother 3 for the forthcoming Kane Rince show in March, and I gotta be honest with you, I spent way too much time playing Neo and not preparing enough for this podcast. So I looked at a list of characters from Smash Brothers, and I saw Ness from Smash Brothers, and also from Earthbound. And I thought, I think there's a kind of interesting discussion in there with Ness. So here we are, Ness from Earthbound.
Super Nintendo, playing Earthbound. You got your boy Ness, his baseball cap is turned around. He's a young boy with a baseball bat, gonna kick them aliens right in their stupid ass. But then you play Smash Brothers, and you wish you picked another playing Earthbound. Ness is alright, but in Smash, he's a piece of shit.
Right. So, I think Ness is a character of two halves. There is Ness in Earthbound, and then there's Ness in Smash Brothers, and they are very, very much not the same character in terms of their kind of appeal. So why don't we take Earthbound first? So, Earthbound, obviously the game where Ness is from. It's a kind of another approximation of what Ninten was in the original Mother game. Ness, of course, named after the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, albeit with double S's. This is because when Nintendo when Ape made Earthbound, they wanted to give the character like a ubiquitous name that wasn't sort of like pointed at anybody in particular. It's a classic JRPG trope of you're there to inhabit the main character. And what we end up with is Ness. Now, Ness is essentially like a 7 to 10-year-old boy, probably not interesting enough to worry about what that is. And he has all of the generic traits of a 8 to 10-year-old boy. A striped t-shirt, the baggiest shorts that you've ever seen, bordering on jorts, but they're more Bermuda-y than that.
Yep.
He's got the Converse low tops and a red cap with a little bit of black hair, fluffing out the front. The only thing he's missing is like a propeller on the top of his hat to give you that true generic 50s child look.
Absolutely. This kid was absolutely living down the street from Andy and Opie in the Griffith Show. You know what I mean? This kid exists in 50s, 60s suburban America as one of the protagonists for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Charles Schultz literally birthed this from his mind, albeit through Shigesato Itoi, who made it. But so what does Ness do? Well, Ness is like a young child who's basically been given the powers of psychic powers from an alien bee that lands on the Earth and goes on an adventure to save the world, literally save the world as an 8-year-old. And his mum and dad and sisters don't really have much to say. Of course, we've got the dad from Earthbound already on the flipping document here somewhere down there, but Ness is a slightly different beast. Ness is a silent protagonist. He is generally quite kind of down the middle. Obviously doesn't have anything to say, but generally emotes quite a lot. Is just a sympathetic little dude. I always like to think of Ness as just a cool guy, a lovely little kid who just wants to do the right thing, who just wants to go on an adventure across the world, fighting hippies and garbage cans.
And he's always got his baseball bat with him.
Yeah, and a yo-yo.
He's always got he has what do American kids need? They need jean shorts, a backpack, a yo-yo, and a baseball bat. Those are the four pillars of American child.
It really is.
I agree completely. Has quite a bit of personality for a silent protagonist and for a Super Nintendo protagonist. Ness has a lovable innocence to him that I really an altruism, I guess, that I really enjoy.
He's everyone's best friend, and they all just remind you, which makes you sort of potentially, well, if you're anything like me, sort of believe that they're right. And I just think I wish I had a friend like Ness. He doesn't really say much, but it's just super cool and dead effective at what he does. But speaking of being effective, it's not quite the case in Smash Brothers. So Ness in Smash Brothers is generally very, very, very low tier because of his stupid abilities and the need to smash his own ass with a PK something in order to
I forget what he says.
Back on the stage.
Yeah, that whole up B to then move that little electric ball around. Yeah, maybe that's it. PK Cannon might be it. To then blast himself back on stage. I've been told by Smash Brothers freaks that there are people who can play Ness who are absolutely nasty with Ness.
Yeah.
But I could never. Ness was always because I'm not sure you guys you played Smash Brothers. the way that we always played, particularly Melee, is that we weren't ever Final Destination, no items, any of that stuff. It was always the most chaotic shit of all time, but we always picked
nothing
random.
but Pokeballs.
Right, exactly. But we always chose random. Like, it just always random. You just get who you get and you don't throw a fit. But if somebody got Ness, they'd be like, God damn it. You could smack the shit out of somebody with a baseball bat. However, it's a difficult fight if you're going up against someone like Donkey Kong who's just going to spin around at you and knock your fucking ass off the stage.
Yeah, man. But, like, do you remember the first time that you figured out that you had to hit yourself with it?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember specifically I was watching somebody else play and they did that and I was like, oh, okay. You know, I had no idea.
That's how it is. Instead of just watching Ness slowly glide to the bottom of the screen as you try and hit something with a teeny little piece of shit beam. It's a stroke of genius because, like,
it is.
It's so satisfying when you basically tap yourself on the ass with it and they just go flying like a little cannon. It's just amazing, man. Cool. And completely ineffective.
Oh yeah, completely. But I also feel like that lends to kind of his nature a little bit. Like he's just he's there and he can be competent.
Unorthodox.
You can unorthodox for sure. That's the exact word I was looking for. He seems to view things a little differently and kind of takes a different approach than everybody, but still can be very effective when necessary.
You know what I like about Ness in particular? How many people had their first introduction to Ness by playing Smash Brothers? And I don't mean Smash Brothers Melee, I mean Smash Brothers.
Yeah. It's
my
guess would be a lot because as someone who is a bit of a
this guy?
Super Nintendo mega fan, I did not find out about Earthbound until after Smash Brothers came out. I just never had it, didn't have a friend who had it, whatever. Like, and it's also a pretty rare game over here in the States. I think it's pretty rare.
Yeah, I think it's like very late on in the life cycle and completely alien to a lot of things, you know?
I remember my best friend in the world found his copy of Earthbound with the map from when he was a kid and sold it for a lot of money on the internet.
No doubt.
So, yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, in the original game where you had, like, the mainstays, so Mario, Link, Pikachu, less Jigglypuff, Captain Falcon, like all of the 16-bit kind of like massive tentpole characters, and then just Ness on there. I thought that was kind of cool that they're just like, yeah, look, let's just slam in Ness because we're a big fan. Obviously, it's probably because what's the guy called from Smash Brothers? Oh God, Sakurai.
Yes,
I can't remember. Yeah, so Sakurai's probably a huge fan of the series, but like, I like to think that Smash Brothers probably did more for Earthbound than Earthbound did for Earthbound because of Ness's inclusion in there.
No, I would agree with that. And I also think that there were a lot of people like myself who did like JRPGs, you know what I mean, that we would not have come across Earthbound and like played it via emulation or whatever without having seen Ness in Smash Brothers. Like that was a big and honestly probably had a lot to do with the revitalization of when are they going to localize Mother 3? When's that coming over? Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like
spoilers. They never did.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's interesting. While we were talking about this, I did just happen to look up on eBay. Sold on February 8th, so 5 days ago, Super Nintendo Earthbound open but complete in the box, sold for $4,000.
Jesus,
so yeah, it's pretty rare.
It's a great game. Like
it's fucking awesome.
No getting around it. Love that game. Yeah, man.
Any excuse me. Sorry to the listeners for this cough. It's out of nowhere. Any like personality stuff about Ness that we haven't discussed yet? I was looking at the trivia thing. I think we hit the main.
I think you're right. Yeah,
things.
Yeah. I mean, I want to pay lip service to the kind of final part of Earthbound where all of the characters pray for the prayers of the planet, and they all kind of take out this kind of evil, Gigas, also on this, through the power of prayer. And I think that's just a lovely little kind of exemplification of just what Earthbound's all about. And the fact that Ness is your kind of like window into that world as well is like a cool one. He's just a cool guy. Like a cool little friend.
Cool little guy. Yeah, absolutely.
I just want him to be my childhood friend. Like,
100%.
Is that too much to ask? Yeah.
No, not at all. I think we all deserve a Ness in our life.
I think so.
We also definitely deserve a Ness on this list. So I'm looking at the list here, 182 characters now. Where do you see Ness falling on this list? I think it's a bit of a difficult rank. Currently, if we're talking just from Earthbound, we have Gigas, I don't know how to say it, at the number 73 spot, and we have Pooh, a.k.a. Wang, at the 105 spot.
We also have the dad.
Yeah, father from mother. Yep.
Yeah,
Where's he? He's down on the list a little bit. He's 121. So, I do think. Yeah, so it's tough to say because we have the antagonist ranked at 73. Do you think Ness rises above that? I guess is the question.
So I think there's something like. I don't, and it's not because I'm trying to be glib about this, but the Gigas or Gygas is this sort of weird Lovecraftian amorphous concept of evil, and I think that does a lot for that series and permeates across it. Whereas Ness is more like a kind of blank canvas with just enough about him to kind of say a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ness is also really only in 2 games, I think.
Yep.
That sort of has to be recognized.
Sure.
I like how unorthodox he is, though. I like how bizarre he is in Smash Brothers. So I think there's a little bit of kind of just sort of I don't even know, a bit of a sort of lateral thinking required here. So if I may, where I had gone in my head in the first instance was the new number 89 between Bo Jackson and Sid Fabul from Final Fantasy 9.
Ooh, okay, yep.
And this is just because I think
I don't hate that.
He's just as a character not that interesting, and we're struggling to pull out exactly what it is about Ness that's interesting, and it's because basically everything else around him that's going on is more appealing. He is just a kind of nice middle and grounding character for an otherwise bizarre game. And that's cool. And then in Smash Brothers, obviously, he's just a idiosyncratic character with a load of different cool shit that's going on. Just happens to be in the first game and went from there. So it's hard to place him. So I went middle. Not because I hate the character, not because I think it's too cool, but I just thought, why not get him in among bedfellows Bo Jackson and Silverbull?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, well, first of all, it's top half of the list, so he's in the top 50% of video game characters of all time, so he's doing good there. I do think that protagonists of older RPGs, it gets tough, right? Because they literally a lot of times just served as the avatar for the player to feel like that's them, right? So a lot of times they were intentionally void of personality. Ness's personality, as you said, was developed by the things we've seen him in since. Doesn't make the character any lesser or greater than that. It's just that's the reality of the situation. And when you have someone with the athletic merits of a Bo Jackson represented in digital form, I think it's only right to recognize both that and Ness's importance to video games by putting them back to back. So
what a board
I
of
agree.
directors that is.
Board. Yes. So appearing today in the board of directors is Fat Man, Bo Jackson, Ness, and Sid Fabul the Ninth. That would be a rough interview table to sit across from.
Good ranking, man. Yeah. Just Ness never saying anything,
beady
but just
eyes
raising his
staring
eyebrows
into your soul. Yes. So Ness is the 89th greatest video game character of all time. Congratulations to Nintendo, another character on the list. You can see all 183 characters on this list over at brianbabelson.com, which I'll be updating before this show goes up. So by the time you're listening to this, it will have been updated. And Rich, I think we did it. I think we managed to find the sweet spot for science here today. How do you feel?
Delighted.
Yeah.
Relieved.
Yes, relieved.
Excited.
A little tired. But yeah, feeling good. Rich, is there anything you want to talk about other than what we already said? Any place you want the people to find you, or would rather just be left the fuck alone?
Listen to the news. Listen to the news show for news. Character Issues news show for news. I don't know. I think we have generally a comparable audience between the two. Listen, gaming news is as a tale as old as time, but I like to think we bring a certain sizzle to that steak.
Absolutely.
With probably inexpert news telling,
Yes.
completely biased responses, and absolutely no skin in the game.
Yes.
And that makes it interesting as well, because we're not scared of upsetting people in the same way that some of the news outlets are. Like, we will be libelous because we have nothing to lose.
Right,
Literally,
yes.
we don't get anything from this, so
literally,
what
yeah,
can we say?
yeah, exactly. Listen to the Character Issues News Network for news. That's up. All of those shows are now up on YouTube as well. If you wanted to seek them out there, send us an email at characterissuespodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at Character Issues Podcast, or at Character Issues, just on Blue Sky. Keep an eye to the horizon for everything. If you want to know what shows are coming up, you can follow us over on Blue Sky. It's also where you'll hear my 10 p.m. Opinions on video games that I feel the need to share with the world over there. So feel free to give us a follow over there. And then we're on a bunch of Kane and Rinse episodes this year too, so keep your eye on that schedule. Me, Leah, and Rich are all appearing on various episodes. In fact, Leah and I this weekend are recording the Balan Wonderworld episode, which should be a treat.
God.
So it should be a lot of fun. But until next time, thank you, Rich. Thank all of you for listening. Thank you, Leah, wherever you are. And it just leaves my Character Issues.
No, don't thank Leah. Like, there's something about Leah. I want to say this while she's not here. She brings this sort of like Dickensian cruelty to this proceedings, and I just think it's important that we say that out loud now. She's not here to defend herself.
I'm glad you got that recognized, especially with the opportunity to not have any rebuttal. I agree completely. And that just leaves me, your host, Brian Edwards, to say your Character Issues catchphrase, which is Diddy Kong's a dope-ass chimney.
Indeed he is. Sweet.